भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स साधु साधु. So today for the Dhamma sharing, Shubham Mohod is there with us. He has been kind of helping the Dhamma journey of TWIM for by many kind of ways. He has recently joined the trust, and he is also doing online retreats, and he has served the retreat in Jetwan. He has also been kind of has done physical retreats with us. And there was a long journey. I was reading about his story, which he has updated on the dhammasukkha.in, that he had been ordained at an early age. There is a temporary ordination of somewhere at age of 8. And he was very successful in his kind of life in the worldly sense also. But Dhamma has interest for him and a kind of pull from the heart. So he has been having his own way of serving the Dhamma, and his own unique way of looking at the Dhamma topics. That's the reason it is very important that different voices are heard and different points of views are heard. Last time Sindhu was there for the sharing, and that was a kind of a appreciated a lot, and many people saw the YouTube video also, and have kind of appreciated what has been shared. So you need more people to come and more people to kind of share their point of view of Dhamma. One of the ways of kind of revealing certain points is looking at that point from many different angles. When you are looking at one point from many different angles, then you reveal something. And certain times, certain ways, Buddha also uses a lot of synonyms in his suttas when he's talking. Why is he using synonyms? Some people kind of give each synonym a different meaning. But one other way of looking at it is that somebody has a perception of a word. So what the Buddha is doing is using many different words, so many different people can receive that information. So that's the reason many different voices are very important to kind of gain our own understanding. So I'll not take much time, and Shubham, you can start the reading of the sutta and share some points.
Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Thank you so much, Bhante, for this introduction. So first, I'll give you the basic idea about this sutta, Majjhim Nikaya, Sutta number 2, Sabbasava Sutta. Yes, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, to me, yes.
Yes.
So the 7 methods are given basically in this sutta to abandon all kind of taints. We call taints, like in simple words, we call it distractions. So 7 methods are given in this Sabbasava Sutta. And in Majjhim Nikaya, there are many suttas. There are some philosophical, logical, doctrinal discourses which can be practiced for the liberation of beings. This Sabbasava Sutta is also one of them. And I like this sutta because Bhante Vimlaramsi always used to say one thing, that distractions or hindrances are nothing but they are your teachers after the Buddha. So I chose this sutta, I meant to. And the Buddha uttered this sutta to directly benefit all beings, for all, on this path of nirvana, or simply to get rid of all these sansaric sufferings. So here I'll replace some words, for example, bhikkhus with students, taints with distractions and all. So first we'll try to understand the meaning of the word asavas. Asavas is the Pali term which means flow. So we can define Sabbasava as these are certain kind of ideas which intoxicate or pollute the mind. In Pali, we call it as kilesa as well, or the defilements, vikruti. So there are three kinds of taints explained in Buddhist canon. So first one is kamasava, the taint of sensual pleasure. Second one is bhavasava, the taint of becoming, means which is basically the desire to be born again and again in the existence of samsara. And the third one is avidya. The name itself suggests that there is ignorance about the four noble truths, that this is suffering, this is the origin of suffering, and this is the cessation of suffering. There is a way leading to the cessation of suffering. So to understand these four noble truths practically, that means that person is not ignorant. Now, the practice we are doing now is 6 hours or the right efforts. This practice has capability to remove all these kinds of distractions or hindrances. But this practice of abandoning distraction is based on one's wise attention. In Pali, we call it yoniso manasikara, and unwise attention means ayoniso manasikara. First, we'll try to understand yoniso manasikara. So this is, for example, when a person pays attention to things, and if the distractions do not arise in his mind, and the already arisen taints vanish, that is called a wise attention. So in our practice, we call it being mindful or paying wise attention. In addition, I can simplify this thing as when one sees and knows anicca as anicca, dukkha as dukkha, asubha as asubha, and anatta as anatta. Understanding these things as it is, yatha bhuta jnana dassana, means paying wise attention. So I request everyone to pay wise attention over here, because I'm going to read Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, Sabbasava Sutta. All the distractions. Thus have I heard, on one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anath Pindika's park. There he addressed the students. Students, Venerable Sir, they replied, and the Buddha said this: Students, I shall teach you a discourse on the restraint of all the distractions. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, the students replied. And the Buddha said this. So this is the summary of this Sabbasava Sutta. Students, I say that the destruction of the distractions is for one who sees and knows, not for one who does not see and know. Who knows and sees what? So here, the Buddha is talking about wise attention and unwise attention. When one attends unwisely, the unarisen distractions arise, and arisen distractions increases. When one attends wisely, unarisen distractions do not arise, and arisen distractions are abandoned. So when we practice or when we go for the sitting, we can understand and comprehend all these things practically. Students, there are distractions that should be abandoned by seeing. So the 7 methods are: first one is by seeing, second one is by restraining, third by using, fourth by enduring, fifth by avoiding, sixth is by removing, and the last one is the distraction should be abandoned by developing. So developing what? So I'll try to explain each and everything in details. So first we'll see the distractions to be abandoned by seeing. What distractions, students, should be abandoned by seeing? Here, students, an untaught ordinary person who has no regard for noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their actions or in their dhammas, who has no regard for true men and is unskilled and undisciplined in their dhamma, does not understand what things are fit for attention. He does not understand what things are fit for attention. Means basically where should one pay attention? What should be the object? Since that is so, he attains to those things unfit for attention, and he does not attain to those things fit for attention. Here, basically, we can understand the significance of having a Kalyana Mitra or a spiritual friend, because spiritual friend will guide you where you should put your attention on wholesome things. So basically, the person who attains wisely, he understands wisely that this is suffering, this is the origin of suffering, this is cessation of suffering, and he attains wisely. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And when one attains wisely, when one understands these things, three fetters are abandoned in him. Three fetters are there in every untaught, undisciplined person. So these three fetters are abandoned in him. First one is personality view. Second one is doubt about the practice. And third one is adherence to the rules and regulation, the rules and observances, means rites and rituals. He don't believe on all these rites and rituals. So these are called the distractions that should be abandoned by seeing. So this sutta is a very long sutta, so I'll try to cut short it as possible. Now we'll see the distractions to be abandoned by restraining. Here, the meaning of restraining is by controlling or by taking some kind of caution. What taints students should be abandoned by restraining? Here, a student reflecting wisely abides with the I faculty restraint, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who abides with the I faculty unrestrained. There are no distraction, vexation, or fever in one who abides with the I faculty restrained. Reflecting wisely, he abides with the ear faculty restrained, with the nose faculty restrained, with the tongue faculty restrained, with the body faculty restrained, with the mind faculty restrained, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who abides with the faculties unrestrained. There are no distractions, vexation, or fever in one who abides with the faculties restrained. So these are called the distractions that should be abandoned by restraining. Bhante, can you please put some light on this? By restraining.
Restraining means that, see, if you are looking at certain kind of images, then what happens is that certain times certain thoughts arise regarding those images. Like if you are watching too much news about the war which is there going on in Ukraine, what happens is, then when you look at that things and you feel bad for the Ukrainians here, and then we think, oh, they should kind of suffer. The Russians should suffer, and they should also have that kind of pain. But that is not a right way of thinking from the perspective of the Buddha, because the Buddha says that everybody is suffering, and the people who are doing the cruel things, cruel acts, like throwing bombs and killing, they will also have those suffering which will be coming returning to them. So when certain aspects are happening in the world, where you put attention to can change your way of thinking. One example is the Buddha, a book who comes to the Buddha and says that when I am sitting in meditation, I am getting all these images of killing. So the Buddha says that in this forest, when you are meditating many lifetimes before, you are a king and you fought a battle over here. That's the reason. So now you do the metta meditation for all those people who you have kind of killed, and be with metta, and then this will subside. So in that sense, where we are putting your attention can kind of lead to some other things which are happening. So like in anything, like even in the touch, some people like silk or pure cotton or something like that. And if they kind of have to kind of deal with certain things which are gross, then they are not able to kind of deal with that situation. So all those things can be come under restraint. So you have to be careful where you are looking, what you are hearing, what you are smelling, what you are tasting, what you are touching, what you are thinking. So all those things are to be careful. That, as you kind of very clearly mentioned about the Yoniso Manishakara, that is the wise attention. So we have to put our wise attention to that.
Thank you so much, Bante. So now we'll see some distractions which can be abandoned by using. What distractions, students, should be abandoned by using? Here, a student reflecting wisely uses the robe only for protection from cold, for protection from heat, for protection from contact with gadflies, mosquitoes, wind, the sun, and creeping things, and only for the purpose of concealing the private parts. Here, this message is specially for the bhikkhus who practices in the forest monasteries and all. So, only for the purpose of concealing means hiding the private parts. Reflecting wisely, he uses alms food neither for amusement nor for intoxication, nor for the sake of physical beauty and attractiveness, but only for the endurance and continuance of this body, for ending discomfort, and for assisting the holy life, considering thus I shall terminate old feelings without arousing new feelings, and I shall be healthy and blameless, and shall live in comfort. So here, he's asking us to maintain the equanimity or the balance in life by distractions to be abandoned by using. Reflecting wisely, he uses the resting place only for protection from cold, for protection from all these creeping things, and only for the purpose of warding off the perils of climate and for enjoying the retreat. So basically, the human mind has this mindset that he uh, tries to go into the extreme states. Like, so here we have to maintain balance in life. Now, distractions to be abandoned by enduring. What distractions, students, should be abandoned by enduring? Here, a student reflecting wisely bears cold and heat, hunger and thirst, and contact with gadflies, mosquitoes, wind, the sun, and different creeping things. He endures ill spoken, unwelcome words and arisen bodily feelings that are painful, racking, sharp, piercing, disagreeable, distressing, distressing to life, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who does not endure such things. There are no distractions, vexation, or fever in one who endures them. These are called the distractions that should be abandoned by enduring. Bhante, would you like to say something on this? By enduring?
By enduring means that one way of looking at it is whatever comes in the meditation, like the meditation pain is there. Or when you are in meditation, there is too much heat is there, or there is too much cold is there. So certain times what happens is we don't have control over those things. We don't have control over the pain which is arising, or we don't have control over the temperature of the room which we are there. So certain times we have to endure certain things and go with the flow of those things. Bante used to say that this is the truth and this is your resistance, then that is the dukkha. So whatever is there, if there is heat is there, or the temperature is cold, or you have pain, you accept this and don't resist this. Then what happens is you will be able to kind of get over that hindrance. That is what he is saying by enduring, you get over the hindrance.
Right. Right.
One more thing I just wanted to say about the things by using. So in the lay life also, what happens is that a person buys a car. You see that when a person buys a car, there is a lot of ego which is involved in that car. If he buys a house, there is a lot of things which he does outside the house, like paints and puts certain things outside. So he just want to show his kind of prosperity or something like that. So in the for a lay person, you can see that we can use a house if you want. If you want to buy a bungalow, we can buy a bungalow if we can afford. But it has to be used not for the enhancement of ego, but for the purpose of living. Say if he buys a car, he buys a car for the purpose of traveling. So you will see that in US, they say that there was an article that why do the billionaires buy kind of simple cars? Because they don't need to show off,
Right.
So the billionaires, in fact, buy very common cars, so they can use the car, but they don't need to show off, So that is one way of saying that how to by using, you are getting over the hindrance. So hindrance of ego can be got over by saying that okay, this I have to use a Mercedes, but I will use it as a utility, but I will not enhance it. I will not make it into a part of my ego. So in that way, we can avoid the hindrance of ego or hindrance of attachment to the things, and that why progress. Yes.
This is a very good example, and it's relatable in day-to-day life. Thank you, Bhante. So now we'll see there are some distractions which can be abandoned by avoiding. So what distractions students should be abandoned by avoiding? Here, a student reflecting wisely avoids a wild elephant, a horse, a wild bull, a wild dog, a snake, a stump, a bramble patch, a sissy pit, a severe. Reflecting wisely, he avoids sitting on unsuitable seats, wandering to unsuitable resorts, and associating with bad friends. This is really important. Since if he were to do so, wise companions in the holy life might suspect him of evil conduct, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who does not avoid these things. There are no distractions, vexation, and fever in one who avoids them. These are called the distractions that should be abandoned by avoiding. Yes. Can you please explain, Bhante, in details?
One way of saying in meditation is that when there are certain subjects, the Buddha is saying that you have to avoid, like one would avoid a snake with the foot. So if you see a snake near your foot, how you pull your foot back? In that same way, there are certain subjects which are kind of, there are a subject of cravings are there. There is a lustful thoughts are there that can kind of capture your mind, so that you have to just avoid that subjects. There are subjects of anger can take over your whole mindset and all your attention, so you have to avoid those things. So certain things are something which you don't have to deal with. So Buddha is giving a practical example of physical environments, like if you go to a place where there is a lot of noise and there is a lot of things which are happening, and you say, I will do my weekend meditation over there, then you will have problems over there. Then you have to see a suitable place. So certain
Right.
things you have to avoid, and certain things like bad friends will take you to bad kind of things to do, and then you will not have time to kind of develop your wisdom. So in that sense, both the way, physically and mentally, there are certain things it is best that you don't engage with that and avoid.
Now we'll see some distractions to be abandoned by removing. So, in order to be on this path of Nibbana, we have to work in different ways. So, we can avoid these distractions by removing. What distractions, students, should be abandoned by removing? Here, a student reflecting wisely does not tolerate an arisen thought of sensual desire. He abandons it, removes it, does away with it, and annihilates it. He does not tolerate an arisen thought of ill will. He does not tolerate an arisen thought of cruelty. He does not tolerate arisen thought of evil, unwholesome states. He abandons them, removes them, does away with them, and annihilates them, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who does not remove these thoughts. There are no distractions, vexation, or fever in one who removes them. These are called the distractions that should be abandoned by removing. So, this is really helpful. Can you please give any practical example, Bhante? Because some phrases are repeating in this sutta.
Yeah, so certain things which are there, like it is clearly 6 hours, So when a thought of ill will arises in your mind, then you recognize and then release. Release means that to let go of that. So over here, the Buddha is also using certain synonyms like to abandon, to let go, to kind of annihilate. Annihilate does not mean that you try and suppress it. Annihilate means you just try and let it go.
Okay.
So when you recognize, you release, then you relax, re-smile, and return back. So that the Buddha is saying that to let go of all those things which has come. So basically to apply 6 hours in any kinds of unwholesome thoughts which are there. In Majjhima Nikaya 19 also, the Buddha says that I can divide all my thoughts into two parts. One is wholesome and unwholesome. So if there are unwholesome thoughts which are there, then you let's go of them.
Yes. And this is also not enough, like removing, seeing, avoiding, that is also not enough. So, the last and very important practice is by developing. So, here the Buddha wants us that we should develop some good faculties. Simply, we call it as 7 factors of awakening and all. So, distractions to be abandoned by developing. What distractions, students, should be abandoned by developing? Here, a student reflecting wisely develops the mindfulness enlightenment factor, which is supported by seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, and ripens in relinquishment. He develops the investigation of states of enlightenment factor, the energy, the tranquility, the concentration enlightenment factor, the equanimity awakening factor, which is supported by seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, and ripens in relinquishment, while distractions, vexation, and fever might arise in one who develops them. These are called the distractions that should be abandoned by developing. We can add like some factors we can add. For example, curiosity is there, consistency is also there. So, yes.
So one way the Buddha is explaining is that when you develop the mindfulness is being aware of your object of meditation, remembering to observe how your mind's attention moves from one thing to another. So when your mind's attention is there on your object of meditation, how it is moving, that is the faculty of mindfulness. When you are developing that, then the faculty of investigation is automatically developed, that your mind is on the wholesome and then it goes to the unwholesome. Then you recognize, release, relax, smile and return back and try to remain on that. Then you develop the faculty of energy, because you know that if there is your mind is too busy, then you have to relax more. If you are dull and you are sleepy, then you have to put in energy. So you have to manage the energy. When this energy management is there, then the joy arises. When the joy is there, the body is tranquil. When the body is tranquil, then there is the samadhi, which is your ability to stay on an object. So
Right.
when your body is tranquil and you're happy, you're smiling, then you will be able to stay on your object of meditation. That is the samadhi factor. When there is you're in samadhi, your mind will be equanimous. So in that sense, all these things will be developed one after another, after another.
Is it a kind of distraction, Kaisa?
Oh, he's trying to kind of figure out something. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So as you said correctly, that it has to be developed. So
Yes.
if you are developing your mindfulness, then your investigation factor will develop. Then your management of energy will be developed. Then your joy will be developed. Your tranquility will be developed. Your samadhi will be developed, and your equanimity will be developed. So that way you can progress.
Yes. And the most important thing about this practice, Bhante, like I experienced it myself, that when you practice 6 hours very precisely, then all these enlightenment or awakening factors are, we can experience it with the help of our own experiences.
Correct.
So it's not much difficult that I have to develop this factor, then it'll develop and all. It's really easy. Yes.
Yes, very good.
Yes. So the last one is developing. Now, this is the conclusion. I'll read it and then after we'll take some questions or we'll discuss the ideas. Students, when for a student, the distractions that should be abandoned by seeing have been abandoned by seeing. When the distractions that should be abandoned by restraining have been abandoned by restraining. When the distractions that should be abandoned by enduring have been abandoned by enduring. When the distractions that should be abandoned by removing have been abandoned by removing. When the distractions that should be abandoned by developing have been abandoned by developing. Then he is called a student who dwells restrained with the restraint of all the taints or distractions. He has severed craving, flung off the fetters, and with the complete penetration of conceit, he has made an end of suffering. That is what the Blessed One said. The students were satisfied and delighted in the Buddha's words. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So the Buddha is basically saying that when a mind is there without distractions, and that distractions is going away fundamentally from the root, then one can say for oneself that one has completed the training. That is, one has become a arahant. The Buddha is saying in one other many suttas, the Buddha is kind of mentioning that if you are sure that you are doing the basics of the practice, then you can consider yourself a Sotapanna. By yourself, you can declare yourself a Sotapanna. So last time, I think I took a sutta where somebody goes to the Buddha and speaks to the Buddha, and the Buddha says that, see, you are following the 5 precepts and you are generous. You are doing your generosity, giving dana and doing your part, all that. So you can consider yourself a Sotapanna. Another sutta, the Buddha says that if you are following the 5 precepts perfectly, and you are also contemplating on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the good qualities of the Buddha, the good qualities of the Dhamma, the good qualities of the Sangha, then also you can consider yourself and you can declare yourself a Sotapanna by yourself. So why can we do that? One factor is that over here the hindrances are not arising. So you are very sure that when there is no hindrances arising, there is no kind of stored up karmic reaction which is there, habitual tendencies are not there with you. When they are not there with you, then you are free from this cycle of samsara. And that is the reason the Buddha is saying that you will be able to consider yourself as an arahant by looking at your mind, because this is a personal practice. The Buddha's path is personal. So nobody else can tell you what is your state. You have to depend on yourself. And you have to look at your practice. You have to look at your mind, what is arising in your mind. Say if somebody claims that you may have become a anagami, but there is a thought of lust coming in, there is a thought of ill will coming in your mind, then you should say no. Even if the other person is saying to me that I am an anagami, I have this thought of ill will, I have this thought of lust, I have this anger which is arising. So I should consider that I have not reached that space. So that is a very important part of that kind of the sutta in the end. So I would request anybody who has questions can ask Shubham questions, and he can answer to you. It can be about this sutta, specifically it can be about hindrances, it can be about the practice also. Anybody has questions? If you have any comments, then just share your thoughts with us.
Vandami Bante,
Vandami.
I would like to ask my question.
Uh-huh.
When you say that the person is a Shotapanna, for that you need more of a practice or even a theoretical knowledge, like a Pariyatti and Patipatti both are required, or only Pariyatti is sufficient?
So in the suttas, there are, as I told you, there are a few ways the Buddha is saying that you can consider yourself a Sotapanna. One is with practice. Okay, with practice, when you are doing the practice and you have a experience of cessation, then you are considered to have attained the Sotapanna. The second is by following the precepts very closely and unbroken following of precepts. And then one other factor is doing the the pariyati, that is the contemplation of Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Then one other sutta, the Buddha is saying that even if you are perfection in dana and you are following the precepts, and those also you can consider yourself a sotapanna. So it is basically how your mind's kind of functioning has changed, how you are changing the way of your behavior. So it can be from practice and it can be from the study also. In the study, the person can reach up to Sagdagami. So Bante Vimaramsi used to say that, but to reach to the stage of Sagdagami through only from study, a person needs to have a very sharp intellect to understand the teaching and to kind of progress. That is the reason the easiest way is through the practice of meditation, because you are directly able to see what is arising, you are able to let go of that and understand the functioning, how your mind's attention is moving from one thing to another. So that is the basic definition of mindfulness. So you can develop your mindfulness very easily and in a very short time. Even in 10 days, many people have progressed because they are able to look at this mind of theirs and develop their understanding. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I'm satisfied with your answers. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions, or anybody wants to kind of share their points?
So basically, as you said, Bhante, there should be a balance between pariyatti and patipatti. Both the things are important, but if we start with the practice, patipatti, then that would really, it would be really easy to understand and comprehend the theoretical aspect as well. I'd like to tell you an example of Bana Bhante, who was unaware about all these Pali terminologies and this theoretical aspect. But he was just practicing it by himself in one forest, I guess. And when after developing all those factors, someone told him that this is in this way and all. So he said that, yeah, I experience all these things in the same way it was written in the sutta. So there should be a balance.
Very good. Yes, there should be a balance. And when somebody has developed one thing, it also helps the other. One person has kind of had a pariyatti, then it helps in the patipatti. And if he has the kind of the practical knowledge, then it helps in the theory and learning the theory. So one also helps the other. So that is very good that you have to have balance. Yes, Samir?
Vandami Bhante, and it's so nice to see Shubham after a very long time. I wish him all the best. Yeah. Bhante, please guide me. Like they say, when you are meditating and you are a meditator, you realizes your opponents or other people's mistakes quite fast, rather than introspecting. So how correct it is, like please guide on it. This is really confusing.
See, when one person develops the concentration more than the insight, then he is more likely to kind of be able to point out others' mistake more. But if a person develops insight in a balanced manner, which is what the PIM is trying to teach, that see, you have to have the ability to put your attention on an object. That is the reason Bhante uses the word collected mind. So your mind has to be collected, but you have to also have the wisdom. So tranquil wisdom, insight. So insight is the vipassana. So you should have the ability to have the introspection and ability to see how your mind is working. So then what would happen is your tendency to kind of look at others' mistakes can kind of reduce, because you say that, oh, I also make the same mistakes. And it is there in my mind also, these defilements, as we kind of mentioned, Shubham has mentioned. So that is one way of looking at it, that once it is natural that when you are learning something, then you know, oh, this person is not doing the correct way. But by developing your insight about your own self, that can be reduced. Shubham, do you want to add?
That's okay, man. It's perfectly okay.
So, Samir, did I answer your question?
Yes, Bante. Bante, but to add on just another
Yes.
minute of it for my understanding,
Yes.
because I am learning Abhidhamma now. So
Okay.
uh, the man Chetasika, and it's very important to understand. So Bante, if I warn about somebody's avidya or ignorance, so is that taken as a hindrance or an arrogance, or what are the somebody's doing it and I am vocal about it, you don't do it, please stop, this is wrong.
Huh.
So because the introspection happens silently within me, but when it comes to my opponent, I have to be vocal, my bodily language,
Correct.
so,
So the Buddha is giving certain guidelines when you are speaking. The Buddha says that, are you speaking from a mind of loving kindness? Are you speaking for the benefit of the others? Are you speaking at the correct time? Correct time means that, are you going to kind of correct him when there are his friends and family is there around, and you're going to correct him at that time? So that is not a right time. The right time would be when he's alone and when he's in a mood to kind of receive the information. That is the correct time. So you say, is it the correct time? Is it the kind of correct thing I am saying to him? So all those things have to be put in balance when you are speaking about. So it is okay to kind of, the Buddha says that even if a Mahathera is there and a Samanera finds a mistake, then he should point it out. But it has to be done with the mind of metta. It has to be done with a mind that the other, it will benefit the other person. It should be done in a correct time. It should be not done in the wrong time. And it should be done in a words which are appropriate. So all those things have to be taken into consideration when you are speaking to somebody. So that is the important factor. Shubham, please add, share your thoughts also, because this is today's is your kind of platform.
No, it's okay, Bante. You explained it perfectly. Sindhu is
Can I
also
share?
there. Sindhu, you want to add anything? This is the first time I'm reading Sutta online as well, and actually I'm not into the reading and all. I used to listen to all the Dhamma talks.
Very good. No, yeah, this was a very good start, and the starting explanation was really helpful. So that helps. Chaya, you wanted to share something?
Yes. Vandami Bhante
Okay.
and Namaste Shubham. It's nice to listen. I'm attending such a meeting for the first time.
Very
And so I would like to continue with the question which was raised, just before that. When we start meditating, we start seeing others' mistakes also, and it's very easily we start pointing them out. So earlier, initially when I started meditating, I used to do only breath work, breath meditation.
Yeah.
So that's when, whenever I used to see the mistake, I was also tempted to tell the opposite person, corrections and all. Later on, when I started following TWIM, the loving kindness, I was able to develop the love so much that even if I see something is not happening correctly, or then it comes from love, that perhaps he has not understood it well, or perhaps I need to see something, and it changed my entire approach. And it just went like the way you said, like Buddha said, speak when the person is alone, or give a message which is solving the problem and not pointing out the mistake to the opposite person. So I have been able to get through this, though I don't know much of the theory of the thing, but I just practice whatever I listen to. And yeah, so thank you so much for this.
Sadhu, sadhu. As Shubham was pointing out about one monk who did not know the theory, but he practiced. So he could do the correct thing and he could understand the theory also when it was presented to him. So in that same way, even if you don't know this practical theory, but by doing the loving kindness and following the steps of loving kindness, you can develop our mind. So that's a very good kind of sharing. Is there any other sharing? I thought I saw Hugh come, but I think he was busy, so he has gone away.
Yes.
So anybody else wants to share something?
हेलो
Yes, Vaibhav, share.
वन मिनट मैं
हाँ,
एक क्वेश्चन पूछना
हाँ,
चाहता हूँ प्रैक्टिस के बारे में।
बराबर पूछिए।
जब माइंड लिबरेटेड या रहता है और कोई भी अटैचमेंट नहीं रहती स्टेट ऑफ माइंड में, तो जब होलसम माइंड है तो कुछ जो संकल्प करते होलसम अगर डिजायर रहती है
हाँ,
तो वो क्या ग्रीड है कि वो कि उसे भी शिक्षा करना है। तो
हाँ,
सुत्ता में दिया है कि होलसम डिजायर, अगर होलसम माइंड है तो होलसम डिजायर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर वहां पे अगर ग्रीड आती है तो उसे शिक्षा करना है कि उसे, तो इसके बारे में कुछ।
सो अभी ये इसमें दो तरीका है। देखो, पहले मध्यमा निकाय 19 के अंदर क्या बताया गया है बुद्ध ने, कि आपको जो है ना कुशल और अकुशल चीज, दो चीजों में अपने विचारों को बांटना है। अगर आपका विचार कुशल चीजों पे है तो आप उसके ऊपर अपना विचार रख सकते हैं और कुशल चीजों के बारे में सोच सकते हैं, आपको कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा। अकुशल चीज के बारे में सोचेंगे तो आपका नुकसान होगा। मगर एक जगह पे आप यहाँ पे आते हैं जहां पे बोलते हैं क्वाइट माइंड या शांत मन। तो ये शांत मन के समय में अगर कोई विचार आता है जो आपको कुशल ही क्यों ना हो, उसे भी जाने देना है। क्योंकि शांत मन में क्या है कि यहाँ पे हर चीज जो मैं से जुड़ी है वो हर चीज को जाने देना है। मैं यहाँ पे बहुत शांत महसूस करता हूँ, तो वो भी अगर आपको विचार आता है तो उस विचार को भी जाने देना है। उस विचार को आप कह सकते हैं कि विकसित नहीं करना है, उस विचार के ऊपर आपका ध्यान नहीं देना है। तो अगर जब आप शांत मन में है तो फिर सब कुछ आपको जाने देंगे। मगर अगर समझो आप कंटेम्पलेशन कर रहे हैं या जो आप कोई चीज का विचार कर रहे हैं, जैसे अगर मुझे अभी क्या करना है काम के लिए, तो फिर तब आप ये जो है कुशल और अकुशल के हिसाब से आप सोच सकते हैं। मगर आप अगर शांत मन में पहुंचते हैं तो शांत मन में हर चीज को यहाँ पे जाने देना है। हर चीज यहाँ पे डिस्ट्रैक्शन होती है। तो हम बनते बोलते हैं कि अगर आपने कोई लाइट देखा उसे भी जाने दो, कोई आपने आकृति देखी उसे भी जाने दो, कहीं आपका कोई याद आई उसे भी जाने दो, हर चीज को वहां पे जाने देना है।
क्योंकि वो नथिंग हो जाता है कुछ समय के बाद। तो एक्सपीरियंस जब होता है तब थोड़ा एक्साइटमेंट रहता है, लेकिन वो भी चला जाता है।
बराबर,
और वहां पे कुछ समय बाद कुछ नहीं रहता, नथिंग हो जाता है।
बराबर। तो आप शांत मन में पहुंच रहे हैं। तो शुभम, आप थोड़ा अपने हिसाब से बताइए।
मुझे लगता है जब हम क्वाइट माइंड शांत मन में प्रवेश करते हैं तो इतना मतलब इन्वेस्टिगेशन और ये सारी चीजें ऑटोमेटिकली बंद हो जाती है और थोड़ा सा डिस्ट्रैक्शन आता भी है। तो जो 7 फैक्टर्स ऑफ अवेकनिंग होते हैं उसमें से एनर्जी, उस एनर्जी को हमें सही ढंग से यूज करना है। मतलब यू डू नॉट हैव टू पुट अ लॉट ऑफ एनर्जी और कम भी नहीं होनी चाहिए। और इंटेंशन अगर सही है तो ऑटोमेटिकली उसका रिजल्ट भी सही आएगा। तो ज्यादा कंटेम्पलेशन भी करना ठीक नहीं है। मैं, आई, मी, माइन, मेरा, तो वहां पर तो रहेगा ही नहीं। इसीलिए जो भी वहां से रिजल्ट आएगा क्वाइट माइंड में, जितना ज्यादा देर तक हम लोग प्रैक्टिस करते रहेंगे तो उसका रिजल्ट कुशल ही होगा। तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं होना चाहिए, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
वैभव, और कुछ पूछना है आपको? या इसमें से आपको कुछ समझ में
नहीं,
नहीं?
बस ये
हाँ हाँ।
प्रैक्टिस के बारे में ही था कि थोड़ा मुझे वहां पे क्लियर नहीं था मैं उसके लिए।
हाँ, नहीं,
तो
वो स्पेस जरा अनक्लियर रहता है, क्योंकि वो स्पेस मेडिटेशन से ही आप पहुंच सकते हैं वहां पे, और आपके पास में कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं रहता है उस स्पेस के लिए। तो उसके अगर जब आप वहां पे पहुंचते हैं तो आपको सवाल पूछना जरूरी है, और सवाल पूछेंगे तो आपको जो है आपका जो डाउट्स है वो क्लियर होता है, और प्रैक्टिस अच्छा होता है। तो इस तरह से आप सवाल पूछते रहिए। शुभम से आप कांटेक्ट में हैं, तो आप कभी भी आपको कभी लगे तो आप उनसे कांटेक्ट कीजिए, हम उनसे आप पूछ सकते हैं।
जी बिल्कुल।
ओके। सिद्धू, आर यू एबल टू स्पीक?
No, Bante, actually, but I do have a like question related to practice.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, is there any other person? Sujata, हाँ,
हाँ हाँ,
yes,
वंदा में बनते।
दावी,
भंते जी, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती थी कि जो मैंने अंधेरी में आपके साथ जो किया था 10 days कोर्स,
बराबर।
तो उसमें ना मेरा कंसंट्रेशन अच्छा था। मतलब ऐसा फिजिकली वहां पे थी, लेकिन घर पे जो कर रही हूँ ना, तो मेरा 1/2 hour 1 hour इससे ऊपर नहीं जा पा रही हूँ। तो कुछ मतलब उसमें क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट कैसे कर सकती हूँ?
एक चीज आप कर सकते हैं कि आपका जो दैनिक जिंदगी के अंदर 6 आर का इस्तेमाल करना। जैसे आप अगर कोई भी काम कार्य कर रहे हैं तो आप कोई ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मेडिटेशन रख सकते हैं। स्माइलिंग के साथ में अगर आपको खाना पकाना है समझो, तो स्माइलिंग के साथ में आप खाना
हाँ
पका सकते हैं। या फिर आप कोई कार्य कर रहे हैं, तो एक एग्जांपल बनते विमलराम सिंह हमारे टीचर बताते थे कि एक उनके स्टूडेंट थे, वो बर्तन कुछ धो रही थी, और वो बराबर से स्माइलिंग के साथ में सिक्सार करके वो बर्तन धो रहे थे। और जब बर्तन धोते धोते उनको ऐसा लगा कि अभी मुझे बैठना चाहिए, तो उन्होंने आधा में ही वो बर्तन का छोड़ दिया काम, और वो मेडिटेशन में बैठी, और उनको सिसेशन का एक्सपीरियंस हुआ, निरोधा समापत्ति जो बोलते हैं। वो उन्होंने कहा कि आप कोई भी कार्य कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर आप जो है मेडिटेशन आप लेके आ सकते हैं। तो जो भी कार्य कर रहे हैं वो आपका हो जाएगा ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मेडिटेशन। अगर आपका मन डिस्ट्रैक्ट होता है, जैसे आप कोई पका रहे हैं, तो आप सोचते हैं अरे मुझे ये खरीदना है, मुझे वो परचेस करना है, तो आप उसको सिक्सार करेंगे, और आपका जो अटेंशन है जो पकाने पे डालेंगे। तो अगर आप सिक्सार का प्रयोग अपने जिंदगी के अंदर करते हैं ज्यादा, तो आपका जो बैठने का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो आपका और अच्छा होते जाएगा।
थैंक यू।
सो आप प्रैक्टिकली लाइफ के अंदर इसके इम्प्लीमेंट कीजिए।
ठीक है बंटी, थैंक यू।
और यहाँ पे आते रहिए जूम मीटिंग्स में, और संडे भी हिंदी क्या होता है जूम मीटिंग 8 बजे है ना, कितने बजे सुबह?
हाँ, संडे का सुबह 8 बजे होता है।
हाँ, तो 8 बजे सुबह भी होता है। तो हमसे जुड़िए, और इस तरह से आपका नॉलेज भी बढ़ेगा, और आपको सवाल पूछने का भी मौका मिलता है।
ओके ओके
अब यहाँ पे फिजिकल रिट्रीट का डायरेक्टली कंपैरिजन नहीं हो सकता है घर में। वहाँ पे काफी अच्छा सेक्लूडेड एरिया होता है, और टाइम वैसा होता है। बट बहुत सी चीजें हम लोग इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, जैसा भंते जी ने कहा है कि माइंडफुलनेस हमें बनाए रखना। सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप अगर दरवाजा खोलकर बाहर जाते हैं, तो दरवाजा जब खोलेंगे तब याद रखना है कि हाँ, मुझे स्माइल करना है। बाहर निकलेंगे तो स्माइल करना है। जो भी एक कार्य शुरू करते हैं, तो उस वक्त हमें स्माइल एटलीस्ट चेहरे पर अगर बना कर रख सकते हैं, तो उससे माइंडफुलनेस बढ़ेगा, और उसका इनडायरेक्ट फायदा हमारे सीटिंग में होगा। उससे हमारा सीटिंग टाइम भी बढ़ जाएगा।
थैंक यू शुभम।
यस। एंड वन मोर थिंग, मिस छाया जी ने एक ऐड किया था कि डिफरेंस बिटवीन ब्रीदिंग मेडिटेशन और मेत्ता मेडिटेशन। सो छाया जी, मैंने आपको एक वीडियो सेंड किया था, आपको पता है? आपने देख लिया?
कौन सा 6 minutes वीडियो था जो वो?
एग्जैक्टली राइट।
हाँ यस, मैंने देखा था वो, बिल्कुल देखा था, यस।
सो वहां पे क्लियरली मेंशन किया गया है कि मेत्ता मेडिटेशन ये बहुत ही फास्ट है। कायानुपස්සना जब हम करते हैं तो शरीर और उसकी संवेदनाओं का यूज कर कर हम करते हैं, उससे भी पहुंच सकते हैं लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा। और उस मेत्ता मेडिटेशन बहुत इजी है और जल्द रिजल्ट देने वाला होता है। सो अभी हमने बहुत से एग्जाम्पल देखे थे, बहुत से प्लेन विपासना के जो टीचर्स जिन्होंने 30-35 साल तक इस प्रकार से प्लेन विपासना वन पॉइंटेड कंसंट्रेशन मेडिटेशन का अभ्यास किया, बट वो अपने अनुभव से बताते हैं कि ये 30-40 साल जो हमने थोड़ा सा पूरी तरह से शिद्दत से काम किया तो भी इतना रिजल्ट नहीं आया। मतलब ये उनका पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस भी है। तो ये जो ब्रह्म विहार है, करुणा, मैत्री, करुणा, मुदिता, उपेक्षा, इस पे हम सहजता से प्रोग्रेस कर पाएंगे अगर हम मेत्ता मेडिटेशन को प्रैक्टिस करेंगे।
उन्होंने अच्छा एक एग्जांपल बताया छाया ने कि इनिशियली उनका जो किस तरह रिस्पांस रहता था और मेत्ता के बाद में रिस्पांस कैसा है। सो बहुत अच्छा उनको भी अनुभव है। सो हर कोई जो अपना अनुभव है वो इस तरह से शेयर करना चाहिए तो हमें भी पता चले और हम आपके अनुभव से दूसरों को भी लाभ दे सकें। सो बहुत अच्छा। सो अभी if no more questions are there, then we can share the merits. I would ask Shubham to kind of also be with the sharing of merit. So is there any questions or can we share the merits?
फैजाद जी पूछ सकते हैं क्लास।
हाँ, फैजाद जी आपको कुछ पूछना है, शेयर करना है?
जी नहीं, पूछना कुछ नहीं है। प्रैक्टिस तो अच्छा चल रहा है मेरा, और अभी डेलसन जी का जो 3 दिन का अभी शिविर है उसमें मैं जाने वाला हूँ बस।
Very good.
थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू।
Very good. Okay. Then we'll share the merits. Okay.
यस, थैंक यू।
So Shubham जी आप भी साथ में
Yes,
sharing of merit.
I'm sharing a screen as well.
Oh, very good. हाँ. So सब लोग साथ में कर सकते हैं शेयरिंग। May suffering ones be suffering
Be
free,
suffering free,
and the
the fearless
fearless be. May the
May
grieving
the
shed
grieving
all,
shed all grief,
grief, and may
and
all
may all
beings
beings
find
find
relief.
relief.
May all
May
beings
all beings share
share
this
this
merit
merit that we have thus
that we
acquired
thus have acquired for the
for the
acquisition
acquisition
of
of
all kinds of
kinds of
happiness.
happiness. May being inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, mighty power, share this merit with all us. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू।